Let's go ahead and get started. This is another session of In the Labs with Tracy Gibbs, Chief Science Officer for LifeWise. We are going to be training tonight on perhaps one of the most unique and biggest paradigm shifts that the nutraceutical industry has seen in almost 30 years. I believe, the last time there was a huge paradigm shift, we'll talk about what that means, but the last time there was a new modality for the delivery of dietary supplements was the functional beverage industry, which came out about 1998. Maybe a little earlier. So it could be closer to 30 years since there was something as cool as a delivery system we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight's topic is, what are oral strips and why are they the coolest technology out there? I guess you could say the most modern, most advanced delivery technology for the nutraceutical, and not just that, but the drug world as well. You're going to see some really cool things coming out here in the next few years. So let's get started. Let's talk about drug delivery or dietary supplement delivery in general. You know, putting things in your mouth has been around since time untold, since the first whatever. I don't know if we're talking about evolution and we're going to talk about cells becoming amoeba and then amoeba advancing, whatever. From the first time anything had a mouth and put something in our mouth, right? That's a nutrient delivery system. If we're talking specifically about humans and creationism, well, it was the first time Adam and Eve put something in their mouth. That's how long oral delivery of nutrients has been around. However, when it comes to medicine, it still has been around for at least documented medicinal texts date back to over 5,000 BC. So somewhere in the range of 7,000 to 8,000 years ago, we have documented delivery of oral medications. Most of those were liquid extractions. Some of them were powder. But we didn't really see standardized drug delivery systems until about the 1700s, when it was all powder. Injectables came around in the mid to late 1800s, and then the actual tablet presses with capsules coming on the scene about the 1930s. As far as technology goes, it's really slow. I mean, if you look at computer science and computer technology, we've gone from nothing. I think a watch or calculators were the first things to have little computers in them back in the late 70s, to, what you see today with literal AI in as little as like 50 years. But when it comes to drug delivery technologies, there really has been, for hundreds of years, no advancements. Literally, it's powders to tablet presses to injectables to capsules. And then capsules were kind of the norm from like the 1980s up until about 1995. A huge paradigm shift happened in the industry. And a paradigm shift is something that changes the direction or changes the course of the future. And we saw that with the functional beverage industry. About 1996, 1997, we saw the first functional beverages come out with the mangosteen juice, if you guys remember that company. And then after that, there was like Tahitian noni, and then we saw the acai berry, and then we saw just a myriad of like functional caffeinated beverages, which you still see today, right? That have you take everything from guarana, B12, yohimbine, all the varieties of caffeine out there. The functional beverage industry now dominates about 52% of the total dietary supplement industry. These are everything from the liquid shots to droppers, all of that stuff. They're all considered functional beverages, or beverages that have active ingredients in them. So fast forward to today, and what our topic is today. What are oral strips? This is a fairly new technology that came to us, thankfully, because of a couple of big industries out there. Number one, the tobacco industry. When you look at absorption or delivery of specific drugs or active ingredients, again, the mainstream way has been to put it in your mouth and swallow it. That's the easiest way too. And so scientists have been trying to figure out ways to get most medications into your mouth. Some can't, which is why you have to inject things. There are a myriad of things that you can't put in your mouth that have huge benefits for your body. I mean, let's just take insulin, for example. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have insulin drops? You can't. It doesn't work. Why? Because insulin is a peptide, and when you swallow it, peptides are destroyed by the proteolytic enzymes in your GI tract, and it's not insulin anymore. It just breaks down into a variety of amino acids. Same with all the peptides. Peptides are destroyed when swallowed. Glutathione is destroyed when swallowed. SOD is destroyed when swallowed. B12 becomes incredibly difficult for your body to absorb orally as you increase in age. So there's a myriad of ingredients that are beneficial for us that you can't just put in your mouth because they are destroyed. However, researchers started looking at the chewing tobacco, right? Because you would get the instant nicotine fix. And trust me when I say they've done studies on this stuff. The chewing tobacco nicotine fix that people would get would immediately calm them down, increase their focus and mental alertness in as little as 2 to 3 minutes after sticking that between your teeth and gum. If you were born in the 70s and early 80s, you remember those commercials about just putting that in between your cheek and gum. It's crazy that we allowed advertisements like that on TV, but we did back then. And sure enough, people that got addicted to that really were addicted to that, and because they got that instant fix. And then came the Listerine breath strip about 15, almost 20 years ago, in those little cassettes that you would just pull out and put that little strip on your tongue, and it would literally dissolve instantly, stick to your tongue for a little bit, and you'd get fresh breath. When you combine those two technologies together of an active ingredient on a dissolvable strip that you place in your mouth, you get a dissolvable oral strip. I'm going to show you how simple this is to use. Open that up. There's your strip with the active ingredients on it. You place it on your tongue and it automatically sticks to the roof of your mouth. And while it dissolves, I'm going to talk with a little bit of a lisp. Not a big deal. It should dissolve in about 30 seconds. Let me explain a little bit here for you. This lining on the roof of your mouth and on the inside of your cheek is called your oral mucosa or your oral membrane. And when you absorb nutrients through that, it's called the buccal lining or the buccal absorption, buccal. You have about 100 square centimeters of space on the inside of your mouth that is loaded with microcapillaries, small blood vessels where nutrients can be absorbed. You know this because in times past, we would do sublingual like B12 drops, or some herbalists would tell people to put these liquid drops underneath their tongue and hold it underneath their tongue for whatever, a minute or two. That's called sublingual. It's the same thing. It's all buccal absorption. It's absorbing nutrients via your mouth into your bloodstream where no digestion is necessary. And I know it's going to throw a rocker with the FDA to talk about buccal absorption, but it is putting something in your mouth. It's not a new delivery system. It's not going to need drug status. It's not going to have you register as a novel compound because people have been doing the same thing with Hall's cough drops or with candy. If you're diabetic and you're tanking, what's the first thing you go for? You go for a soda pop or a sucker or a lifesaver or something to get instant sugar into your bloodstream. Well, is that medicine? Did you just prevent that type 2 or type 1 diabetic from going into a diabetic coma with an active compound called sugar? Yes, you did. Should sugar be a drug? Heck no, because you swallowed it, ingested it. It's found in other foods, just like dietary supplement ingredients. So again, in my humble opinion, buccal absorption should never have to qualify as a drug if you're doing natural ingredients that are found in nature and considered dietary supplements. Now, if you're doing a drug via buccal absorption, then yeah, of course you should register as a drug. This technology is so novel, so new, it's going to blow you away what we can do with it. Let's talk about the different delivery systems that we've been putting in our mouth. Let's go with gummies, for example. You know, gummies have actually taken a big chunk of the market. About 18% of the total $300 billion dietary supplement industry has been gummies the last 5 or 6 years. But look at the process in making a gummy and the additives and ingredients necessary to make a gummy. The pectin, the gelatins, the food colorings, the intense flavors, the colors you have to add to it to make it appealing and attractive to you. But more than that, there's other downfalls. We'll talk about gummies, but gummies were cool and gummies were convenient. And that's why gummies took off, because pill fatigue is real. People don't want to pop dozens of pills every day, and so gummies are fun. But here's the problem. A gummy is not buccal absorption. Neither are liquid oral drops. Why? Because you have these salivary glands in your mouth. And as soon as you put, like, let's say a glycerin-based or an alcohol-based herbal medicine under your tongue, and you want to say it's sublingual or something, or you start chewing on a gummy, your saliva activates. And whether you consciously swallow or not, that saliva is dissolving and breaking down that nutrient and automatically going down your throat so that it will be absorbed through the normal digestive process in the GI tract. Where the oral strip technology comes into play is what just happened when I put that strip in my mouth. It naturally sticks to the roof of my mouth. I don't have to chew it. I don't have to hold it under my tongue, where especially there's a lot of saliva that will start slowly dripping down your mouth. That sticks to the roof, or if you want to put it on the inner cheek, it'll stick to the inside of your cheek and stay there, combined with the active ingredients and these adhesive natural polymers that we use to make the strip there, so that the ingredients start slowly absorbing into your bloodstream. That's the difference between an oral strip and a gummy and a lozenge or anything else that you're just going to suck on. Most of what you suck on in the form of a gummy, lozenge, or drops is going to go right down your throat, so it's ingesting, versus an oral strip that is adhering to the buccal lining. So that's why this technology is so cool, and it's why it's taken so long to develop, is how do you get that stickiness using natural ingredients? That was a kind of trial and error process that scientists have been discovering or trying to figure out for many, many years. The main problem why you don't see other companies doing this right now, you do see some, they're out there, they're getting more popular, is because the difficulty of the manufacturing, the type of equipment needed to manufacture an oral strip, and once again, the complex processes. It's so cool. I mean, not only do you have to blend the right natural ingredients with the right adhesive ingredients, but then during the drying process, it's got to be done like at 60 degrees Celsius or less so that you don't destroy any nutrient. And it has to be just the right humidity or lack thereof in order to make the strip dry. If it's too moist, it won't stick. It's going to roll into a ball like a gummy. If it's too dry, it's going to crack. You know, you go to put it in your mouth and it's going to break off, and then you're going to end up chewing it like hardtack candy or something like that. So it's a really difficult technology to master. Even though there have been some companies that have tried to do it, they've tried and failed. But there are a few other companies that have succeeded. So even today, with the way we have discovered how to create these strips, it's still really new. So now that I've answered kind of what is an oral strip, it's just this natural polymers combined with active ingredients and some natural flavoring. Now, of course, you can use artificial flavoring if you want, but I choose not to do artificial flavoring. But yeah, it's these ingredients combined onto this really thin film. In fact, I'm going to show you how thin this is once again. Look how thin that strip is. And it's kind of flexible, but it's not moist. It doesn't stick to my fingers, you see. It's just the right dryness and yet just the right flexibility to stick. It's not on my tongue anymore. Stick to the roof of my mouth. It's not supposed to stick to your tongue. It's supposed to stick to the roof of your mouth. Or I could open my cheek and stick it on my inner cheek. Like, that's what mothers would do for infants. If you're like 5 years old or older and you want to take a strip, it's going to stick to the roof of your mouth. Let's get to my second question. Why will strips be the delivery system of the future? I'm going to answer that with 10 points that you need to understand. And write these down if you want. But I'm going to give you the reasons right here, right now, as to why this is such a cool technology and why it's going to dominate the dietary supplement market. Remember, we talked about powders, we talked about tablets, we talked about capsules. gummies, and then functional beverages. Those are like the 5 main categories in the industry. And that is projected to be a $350 billion industry by the year 2030. So in just the next 5 years, it's going to grow another $50 billion. But what's cool, and I can break down those percentages, the functional beverage is about 53% of the market share. The rest is tablets and capsules, and then a small percentage, like the protein shake industry, is powders. However, less than 1% of that right now is dissolvable oral strips. Less than 1%. In fact, it's less than half of 1% is dissolvable oral strip. And they actually did an article on oral dissolving films and how it's less than 0.5% and poised to dominate the market in the next 5 years. So I'm not just spewing out my opinion here. This is industry-wide opinion. Let me give you the top 10 reasons why you're going to want to be an advocate or a salesman or an affiliate or whatever with a dissolvable oral strip company like LifeWise, all right? Number 1, pill fatigue is real. In many surveys across America, people don't want to take more than 8 to 10 pills per day. Any more than that leads to pill fatigue. I know I experienced that. Before I started taking oral strips, I was taking about 15 to 18 pills a day because I had 5 or 6 of my multis. I had my anti-inflammatories, which were 2 to 4 pills a day. I had cognitive enhancers. I had my lutein I was taking. I was just taking lots of pills. Not only because of my age, but look, even if you're in your 30s, you should be taking a lot of these ingredients. And pills was the easiest way to do it because there are some things that need pills. Not everything will fit on a strip. But if you can limit your pill intake to 8 to 10 a day, how much more convenient is that, all right? Number 2, we're going to talk about convenience. Yes, there is nothing more convenient than popping an oral strip in your mouth or carrying this around. Here's the reasons. Number 1, it doesn't melt in your pocket like a gummy. Number 2, it doesn't get dirty or break open like a capsule or tablet would in your pants. Number 3, no need to carry a needle for injection. There's people out there that shoot up testosterone or other things like glutathione, and they literally have to carry a needle and a syringe. Man, if you want to be mistaken for like a drug user, yeah, carry around a needle and syringe in your pocket. No need to search for water when you want to take it. Here, I'm about to take my 3rd strip of the evening. This one's Radiance, our beauty from within. This gives me my chocolate fix at the end of the day. Sorry, this one stuck to the top of my mouth right by my teeth, so I'm going to have a lisp for just a moment here. Anyway, takes about 15 seconds for that to dissolve, so messed up my speech for just a minute. But that's how easy it is. I didn't have to go search for water. I didn't have to go run and find a bottle of water or anything. I've now taken 3 doses just during this live. Easy to share. These are so portable and convenient and easy to hand out. And if you're an affiliate or a partner and you're making money sharing these things, man, just make a little sticker and put a QR code to your website, or take a Sharpie if you want to be old school like me, and just write your phone number or email address on the back of these and hand them out. How simple is that? They are shelf life stable. Think about this, you guys. When you open up an oral strip product, you have 30, 10 in each of these slots here, single servings. When I open up a bottle of gummies, I just exposed all 100 or 90 or 60 gummies to the air. And you better believe that if I left those sitting in my car in the sunshine, they're all going to melt together. Or if I leave them in my shelf, it doesn't matter. I've still exposed them to air. They're all going to be hard, like a lifesaver hard, within 30 days if I don't eat them or take them. Whereas in a packet like this, I'm opening one up at a time. So super shelf life stable. All right. That's the convenience aspect. Let's talk other things. Infants, toddlers, senior citizens can take these. Anybody that can't swallow. I've known people that have surgeries and they're not supposed to swallow for a day or 2 after the surgery. There's people who have had throat surgeries that can't swallow at all and they now have to be tube fed. Guess what? You can now get your vitamins instead of through a tube, put it in your mouth and do buccal absorption. Anybody from infant newborns to senior citizens can take an oral strip. They can be made with all natural ingredients. We now have the technology to use adhesives and polymers like Pululan and HPMC and cellulose and things like that to create oral strips that are all natural. You don't need any fillers. You don't need any flow agents. Did you know every single capsule and powder product out there has to have flow agents? Not for the product, but for the machines, the equipment that it runs on, so that they flow smoothly. That's why it's called a flow agent. Yes, even at LifeWise, we use an all-natural flow agent for the one. You see it on there. It's a bamboo extract. It's like a bamboo silica. Or some companies use rice flour, and again, in a milligram dose or something, rice flour is fine as long as you don't have a rice allergy. But there are many flow agents that are not natural. You don't need a filler or a flow agent when you use a dissolvable oral strip. Actually, the next few are kind of cool. Economically and eco-friendly. People ask me all the time, well, how are these eco-friendly? Let me give you an example. As a manufacturer, when I'm shipping a pallet to a customer and I'm shipping a regular dietary supplement, I can only fit about 2,000 units on a pallet. When I ship these, I can fit 18,000 units on a pallet. So instead of me shipping 6 different pallets, I do 1 pallet. That's huge when it comes to environmental impact and your carbon emissions in trucking. Now, let's think that's B2B. Once that business gets a hold of this bottle, they got to stick it in a box and then they have to ship it, and they're paying packaging rates. Those rates start at around $5.80 and they require a box, something that can or most likely is not recycled, versus a B2C shipping this as a document where the rates start at about, I think, $1.75 or somewhere around there, and way less. Therefore, again, environmental impact, super eco-friendly, all right? Home storage space, let's talk about that. Can you imagine having 30 different supplements that look like this? It would fill your, not just your medicine cabinet, it would fill an entire cupboard. I know, I've had those cupboards. You guys know you have those cupboards. 30 different oral strips, I lined them up, I measured it, are 11.5 inches long by 6 inches deep. That's not even a shelf on your cupboard or in your cupboard. 30 of these versus 30 of these, okay? Crazy when it comes to storage space. But let's get to the science now. Speed of delivery, speed of efficacy, mouth to blood in 3 to 5 minutes versus mouth to esophagus to stomach to small intestines, passing through first pass metabolism in the liver, then getting to your cells. That's a 30 to 45 minute process versus 3 to 5 minutes with a strip, okay? Speed of efficacy, speed of delivery. Safety. You guys, you don't need a child-proof cap for these strips. Infants and toddlers, it's impossible for them to open. And I would even dare say for senior citizens who maybe are losing motor functions, they're fairly difficult to open. Now, if you're 4 years old and older and you don't want, and you're a parent and you don't want your 4-year-old or 5-year-old getting in these strips, then put them in a higher shelf or something. But you don't have to worry about children overdosing on these because most kids can't open them, so they're kind of naturally childproof. Lastly, trendy. I'm going to read you some statistics. By 2027, oral strips will be the fastest growing delivery technology, not only in the nutraceutical world, but in the pharma world as well. The peptide craze of GLP-1s and semaglutides are booming, but there's already companies out there that have developed ways to get semaglutide and GLP-1 enhancers via an oral strip. But let's not even stop there. There is a company in Ireland who just filed patent for a buccal absorption. It's not an oral strip, but it's a buccal delivery method for insulin. It's out there. Pretty soon you're going to see Valium in oral strips. You're going to see acetaminophen in oral strips. You're going to see all sorts of drugs in oral strips. Why? For the very reasons I just talked about. Convenient. Don't need water. Speed of delivery. Efficacy. You guys don't know what you have in your hands. Crazy. If you're a partner in LifeWise, you are about to ride the largest paradigm shift wave that the dietary supplement industry has seen in 30 years. You guys know what happened and how fast companies like the Mangosteen Company and the Acai Berry Company with their juices and the Noni Juice companies, you know those were all $500 million, $800 million, $900 million companies. And they did it in a relatively short period of time because it was a paradigm shift in an already large industry. The industry has grown 2 times since then. So it's double the size it used to be, and we're about to ride the largest paradigm shift wave that the nutraceutical industry has ever seen. And you guys with LifeWise are one of the only companies doing it right now. Crazy, right? Yeah. So get the word out, share those strips, share the ease and convenience. It's going to blow people's minds away. I haven't had one person that I send samples to tell me that this is a stupid technology. Now, some say I don't like the flavor. Some say, well, it's kind of weird at first. I'll be honest, it was weird for me at first having that thing stick to the roof of my mouth. But think of a kid and how weird it is to swallow a capsule whole. It's a much easier learning curve. For me, literally within a day or two of taking a couple strips, it was my preferred method of taking supplements. Now I take 5 or 6 of these things, probably more. I just took 3 in the last half an hour. I probably take 8 to 10 of these things a day, and it's so much easier. Contact me or contact the person who shared this video with you if you're watching this for the first time and you want to find out for yourself why oral strips are super cool. For the rest of you guys who are already out there and are already partners of LifeWise and sharing this technology, you've got a lot more people in your contact list. You have a lot more people around your neighborhood who need to start seeing these cool strips so that you can not just ride the wave, but be a creator of the wave and be there at the first when this paradigm shift starts to happen. So thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you all watching. Rob every Monday night, me every Tuesday night, Dr. Chris Clem for his leadership and mentoring every Wednesday night, and our master brand partners Sylvia and Greg for their trainings on the comp plan and how to build a business in this amazing industry every Thursday night. So thank you for joining tonight. Have a great evening. Bye.